Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Rachel with Patterns and Pixels Canada. And on today's video, I'm going to be showing you what I made at my sewing retreat and what didn't get done. All right, a week away at Hidden Acres, fantastic campsite. And the host cooked our meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I have never eaten so much food in my whole life, but it was fantastic. We would get up in the morning, right to your sewing machines as soon as you got up, and you just start sewing. Stop when she calls out that the food is ready, go in, have a bite to eat, right back to the sewing machine. Absolutely fantastic. So let's take a look at what I was able to complete in a week's worth of sewing. All right. Tools. More tools. More tools. Some more. Now to the good stuff. This bag is full of all the hand sewing I decided to take at the last minute. The crochet, the cross stitches, the embroidery. I didn't open it. Not once. So none of that was done. When I say that we got to our sewing machines and were at them all day, I do mean 7 a.m. I was at my machine. There were some nights that maybe I only sewed until 8. There were some nights I sewed until 11. And there was one night I sewed until 1. My guild went to this. There were 18 of us. I was the youngest by far. And all of the other ladies stayed up later than I did. They outsewed me by hours. Okay, let's start with the charm quilt. In the first 2 days, I was able to create this many of the large blocks and this many of the small. No, I haven't counted them. I do know that I have enough in here to make 3 rows and 3 more rows. And I wanted to make at least 11 more rows. Obviously didn't get that far. I got tired of sewing it. I wanted to do something different. But the ladies at my guild heard that this is what I was working on. And so they didn't tell me this. Today, the last day, they all came over to my station and gave me all of the scraps from the quilts that they had been working on, which it's phenomenal. First of all, I desperately need these because for the charm quilt, I can only use the piece once. So I am running out of fabric. But now I'm going to be able to make a row in my quilt and it has sentimental value. I'll be able to say, oh, that was the row that my guild members helped me to make. So I really do appreciate this. And not right now, but in another video, I will get all of these up onto my design board to see how large my charm quilt has gotten as I've worked. All right, the second project that I've worked on was, let's do the baby quilt next. This was the one where I had all the orange pieces and the gray, and all I was doing was half square triangles. So here they all are. I've sorted them at the minute based on the gray fabric. No particular reason why. I did just want to keep it, I wanted to keep it organized. I experimented with quite a few different patterns on the design board at the retreat so that I could have the input from my guild. Half square triangles are they're the best. I absolutely love them because you can make such a simple shape. You can make a square and get so many different designs out of that shape. One of the other guild members was actually making a half square triangle for a family member of hers. Completely different color choices. She chose a completely different pattern. She sewed a lot faster than me, so she actually got all the blocks pieced together. I've come home with my blocks. I have 112, I think. Again, this will be another video where I spend some time getting them up on the design board and playing with them. I think I know the pattern that I want to use, but I'm not too sure. Once I have decided though, I then need to, for my own benefit, make sure that I don't have any duplicates touching each other. And that's really the excuse, the reason I'm giving for not having finished this at the retreat. There were only 2 design boards and there were 18 of us. I didn't want to monopolize one design board while I hummed and hawed about the pattern that I was going to choose and rearranging the fabric. It really was designed just for quickly putting up something and sorting yourself out and then going back to your station so that somebody else could use the board. What I'll do once I get these quilts all finished and off the design wall, I can then get this up and leave it for a couple of days while I think about it. Okay, last project I worked on. This one has the curved blocks. The one where I didn't really have a pattern. I'd gone on that course to learn how to sew on a curve. I did get it finished. I did this one last. And so I was sewing this one yesterday and this morning. And then we stopped for lunch, and after lunch we had to pack up the rooms and leave because they had somebody else coming in. So I wasn't able to finish, but I did get a few done. Let's start. Okay, so this was one where I completed 3 of the 4 blocks. So we've got that one, and then it's the same fabric in different orientations. You just turn it every time you sew them together. The decision that I came to, I'm happy with the sewing. I've made curves, which was the whole point. I'm not happy with the size of these blocks, and I'm not happy with how much is one piece. It's a big empty piece of blue or of sort of a tanny cream color or of flowers. And then I've just got more of the same with the other color, the other pattern set that I've chosen. And it's not working for me. It's also going to be a very big quilt. I have 16 squares this size. It's a lot of squares to put in a quilt. And I didn't want to just plonk them together and sew them. So I was chatting with my guild about what my options are. And I think what I'm going to do is be brave. And I'm going to take each block and cut it into 4s, I think. So if I do that, just a quick little fold here to give you an idea, I could end up with something like that. And it's nicer, I think. Smaller, I still get the pieces, the 3 different colors, I still get the curves, but then I can take that and maybe match it up with, let's say, this one that has all the solid. And then if I did something like that, or like that, or like that, I think that's going to work for me a little bit better. I may decide to put a sashing in between, haven't decided yet. I'm a little bit nervous about cutting them because I spend so much time sewing them together. What is it with quilters? We take a perfectly good piece of fabric and then cut it up and sew it back together again. Makes no sense. These are the 3 projects I worked on. Didn't get any of the hand sewing done. I was too busy sewing. I think I'll finish the charm quilt first. I think. The baby blanket does need to get to England for November-ish. So if I find the charm quilt's taking me too long, I might have to stop and move on to the baby blanket because it has a deadline. There's a time frame attached to that. The charm quilt is not being displayed in the quilt show until May of 2024. So I do have time for that, but I don't want to leave it. I want to get it done so I can get something else on the design board and work on that. All right, I have one more thing to show you, but let me tidy this up first. Okay, the next thing I have to show you is not something that I made on the retreat. It's something I'm going to make. Our retreat, it was near the Stratford Shakespeare area of Ontario, not England, Ontario, Canada. And there's a lot of stores down there. So one of the reasons why I probably didn't finish as many quilts as I had hoped was because I went shopping every day. And if you check my Instagram, you'll see some of the places that I went to. And I found something that's absolutely stunning. So this is made by Tilda. It is a pixelated image of a flower bouquet. I'm not really sure. Flower themed. I'm really excited. It's all made with solids. There's no pattern at all, except for the one that you create. Now this says it's going to be 72 by 90 inches when it's finished, so quite large. All of the blocks, all of the pieces in here are really small. You cut 2-inch squares, and then obviously as you sew them, they're going to get smaller, but they're all the same size. It's just the way you put it together. Now I got back to the retreat after having purchased this. I was already excited. Walked into the room where everyone was sewing and held it up and, oh, look what I bought, isn't this great? And they're all, oh, that's really great. That's, you'll have a lot of fun doing that. And then they all looked at me and said, you bought a grid stabilizer too, right? A what? Never heard of this before. So immediately, oh my gosh, it was the sweetest thing. They all came dashing over and they're like, oh, well, you've got to get this and this is how you have to use it, and you really don't even start this project unless you have one. So I turned around and went back to the store and picked up a grid stabilizer. I've never used one before, so I sat in the parking lot at the store watching a YouTube video on how to use it. It's sort of like interfacing. A little bit of a texture on the one side that has the glue on it. I will apparently iron my fabric to this so that it sticks with the grid. And then when I have all of my little pieces lined up on here to match the picture, I will then fold it and sew it. And the guild members recommended this because when you're dealing with a lot of tiny pieces like this, as they explained to me, when I start sewing all of my rows together, I'm liable to start having a bit of a curve happen without realizing it. And then I'll go and put it up on the display board and suddenly all of my rows are slightly curving. They said by using a grid stabilizer for this particular type of quilting, it will make all the difference in the world. Now this will stay on my fabric once it's ironed onto it. So it will add a little bit of thickness to it, but nothing that's going to cause a problem. And not only am I learning how to do something new here, I've never made a quilt like this before, I get to learn how to use this, which is what quilting is, right? Learning how to do something new. I learned how to do curved seams, learning how to do half square triangles, and what not to do when you cut it too short and now have to figure out how to fix that problem. I will show you what I did in another video. And the charm squares, learning how to use my values, lights, medium, darks, to have a high contrast with your pieces. That's what I love about quilting. And I can't wait to show you each of these projects as I make them. If you have enjoyed my videos, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and bell notification that lets me know I should keep making them for you. Bye.